Hello, this is Shawn Harwell, and you are listening to episode 18.5, a mini episode of the Never Heard of It podcast.
And I'm Craig Moorhead, joining Shawn for our mini-ep on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Not Wednesday morning, but that's okay. We're going to pretend it is anyway. Craig.
Yeah.
I thought I would start us off today by taking us to the box office. Is that cool with you?
Take us to the box office, Shawn.
Okay. I don't normally even really look at the box office. I typically don't care. I did think the story about Batman versus Superman being considered somewhat of a flop after a big percentage-wise drop the second week is pretty interesting. I haven't seen the movie. I'm, at this point, I guess, more interested in the box office than I am the movie, which is, that's just me. No big deal. Certainly, this thing is pulling in a ton of money. But today, when I looked at Box Office Mojo, I pulled up the 2016 worldwide grosses, and I'm going to go through the top 6 movies, and we're going to talk about something that I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm not going to quiz you on this because we know how those quizzes tend to turn out. So number 1 is Zootopia. That I guess you maybe did know. A massive 787 million worldwide so far. Really impressive. Number 2 is Deadpool right now. It's only about 30 million behind. Number 3 is Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice already. It's sitting at 682. Number 4 is The Mermaid. Number 5 is Kung Fu Panda 3. And number 6 is Monster Hunt. You have a blank look on your face right now.
Yeah.
Would you like me to repeat maybe 2 of those?
I'm curious about The Mermaid and Monster Hunt.
Yeah, I was too. I had never heard of either of those. And that is because they're both Chinese, it appears.
Oh.
And Craig, these things are massive. The Mermaid, Chinese film, $545.2 million worldwide. Only 3.2 of that has come from the United States.
Wow.
That's nuts. I'm almost surprised that 3.2 million has been made in the U.S. because I've heard nothing about this movie.
No.
And then Monster Hunt is another Chinese movie, it appears, and that's made 385.3 million worldwide to date. And this is just 2016, keep in mind, right?
Yeah.
It's only April. That's made $32,000 in the United States. So we keep hearing about how important the foreign box office is to the United States. I wonder if it's starting to actually look like the foreign box office is possibly going to overtake the United States at some point. What do you think about that? I mean, are we looking at a future where the number 1 movie worldwide in a year is not going to come from a major Hollywood studio or even from a United States production? I
don't see why not. I mean, it does feel like at some point everything needs to be flipped on its head. Like in our lifetime, it's gone from you got to have $100 million in the U.S. to be a successful movie to being you got to hit $1 billion in worldwide box office to be considered a success, you know?
Yeah, and that's what they're saying with Batman or Superman may not reach that number now based off of that drop.
Which is ludicrous. I mean, the budget of it is probably so big that like it needs to hit that number, but it is. I mean, it's crazy to hit 600 million and not be considered a success.
Yeah, I think the only thing there is just Batman and Superman are they have to be 2 of the most recognizable faces. I mean, forget the actors, just those characters.
Sure.
I would say globally. Yeah. I mean, certainly in this, in the Western world. So, when you're looking at it like that, and you've already got, obviously, the Marvel's well-established, a number of movies that have hit the billion mark, and Deadpool, who the hell knew Deadpool before this, unless you were a real comic book fan, is sitting at $750 million to date, and that's insane. So, by that metric, I think you would want Batman versus Superman to definitely reach that number.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where this idea of it being a disappointment is coming from.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I think it'll be interesting to see once, you have a movie like The Mermaid, and maybe, I don't know if it's sort of maxed out at this point, but if there's a chance that it remains like in this top 5, top 10 for 2016, if you really start seeing the studios pull in more foreign actors, foreign investment, and really making a much stronger push to appeal to the Chinese market or to Asia in general, because, man, that's a lot of money. So moving on, I wanted to talk about this short film that you opened my eyes to today. Tell me what you know about this. It's on YouTube. It's an Adult Swim production, it appears, or at least it's being hosted by their channel on YouTube. And fill us in. Well,
our friend Todd Rohal, who we had a few episodes back, everyone should go check that out, talking about Damon Packard's Reflections of Evil. But Todd has made several fine films of his own, and he now has gifted humanity with an 11-minute bit of genius that can be watched on Adult Swim if you're up around 4 a.m. or so in their infomercial block, or you can find it on YouTube. It is m.o.p.z. And it's a great idea, and anyone who is in television production at the very least would probably recognize exactly what's going on. I kind of wonder about other folks if they kind of get what's happening. But it's the basic idea is there's a movie called Mops, but there's a guy who's QCing it for a channel. So he's just got a tape and he's just fast forwarding. I say he's just fast forwarding through the whole movie.
The whole movie is definitely in fast forward speed.
Yeah, and so you just watch. I mean, and it's a great idea. It's really funny. It plays to all his strengths. A bunch of great people working on it, and go watch it. I mean, it's free, people.
I loved it, and I am not the target audience for Adult Swim at all. Like I some of that stuff just definitely loses me. It was funny and super sweet. The casting was great, I thought. Like, the principal is fantastic of the school, and that food fight scene was just was beyond great. Like, there's such a nice, I won't spoil it, but there's a nice horror homage in there that was terrific. And it's a hearty thumbs up for me. It's got 10,000 views already on YouTube, so that's great. Nice. I love, as always, when I'm looking at YouTube to look at comments, and the first comment posted 8 hours ago was, "There goes Adult Swim smoking pot again." Which, you know what? Yes, that's, I think, the knock against everything on Adult Swim. And I'll say this, like, this is so much easier to follow than 99% of things I have seen on Adult Swim. Like, if you've ever seen an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, this is going to look like the straightest movie you've ever seen in your life, I think.
Indeed.
Definitely has, to me, it felt like a silent film in a lot. I mean, it is essentially, although you're hearing the voices sped up. But even the way it's kind of, using that fast forward device, it makes it kind of look like the jittery motion of the frame rate that they used, and just some of the staging and all that stuff, the visual gags, just really, really solid stuff. Loved it. It
is great. Yeah, heartily recommended. And as far as I know, there were absolutely no bong hits taken on the set. Just to clear that up.
Yeah, just at the executive offices at Adult Swim.
Yes, luckily.
We can assume.
Luckily, that whole place, is nothing but a contact button.
And I will say this, I'm glad Adult Swim exists, even if I'm not the target audience. I mean, it's amazing to me that there's something this weird on TV regularly. It's great.
Yes.
Moving on, but I'm going to stick with TV, Craig.
Okay.
I was in a restaurant recently, and they had on Nickelodeon, and I discovered something that I had absolutely no idea about, and that is the fact that there is now a TV show based on Richard Linklater's 2003 movie, I believe, School of Rock.
There's a TV show?
A TV series, yes, on Nickelodeon, which in a way makes a ton of sense. But I thought it would be a good chance for me to ask you if we have reached peak nostalgia.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, what's interesting is a buddy of mine was in the Broadway version of School of Rock.
That's right. They did it as a musical. Yeah.
I had no idea there was a TV show for School of Rock. And 12 years later, I don't know if this counts as nostalgia. It doesn't seem like it's been long enough. And I realize, the older we get, the less things seem like they happened like a million years ago. But
well, this one technically didn't. Obviously, I kind of thought, that was like 1999, right? But no, it was 2003, I believe. I mean, in a way, yes, it makes total sense to do this on Nickelodeon. Like, it sort of fits that kind of High School Musical vibe, even.
Sure.
Probably.
Well, I mean, it obviously it lends itself to sort of being a musical, and just the fact that that's happening on TV. I don't know. I wouldn't put this in the peak nostalgia sock.
Okay, good. So we're safe.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
That got me thinking, well, hell's bells, what other Richard Linklater movies could we turn into TV shows? What are your thoughts? Just hit me with your immediate reaction if I said Dazed and Confused, a series, FX, AMC, HBO, wherever you want to call it, coming out 2017.
I feel like that would be the only one I would want to watch. And
okay.
And if they did it, I would want it to be set up so that they weren't reprising characters from the movie.
Okay.
So it could be...
Which kind of sounds like what he's doing with this movie, Everybody Wants Some, in a way. That's supposed to be sort of unofficial sequel of sorts.
Yeah. Because I love Dazed and Confused.
So good.
And again, I've never taken a bong hit. I just want to clear that up.
Right?
I want to be very clear about that.
No, I'm not.
You don't have to smoke marijuana to enjoy good things. Mm-hmm. If they could keep that quality of that story going, I would watch that like an MFer.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think I would be pretty excited about it, in fact. And I don't know, maybe it's a good thing that, because Linklater has evolved as an executive producer on the School of Rock show. He's a guy, I don't know, I hadn't thought about it before, but I wouldn't mind seeing him dip his toe into TV in a big way like that. Well,
Shawn, I mean, nostalgia-wise, what show would you want to see turned into a movie, or a movie turned into a show?
I think, you know what I'm going to say? And I don't know why, but it just came to mind. First thing off the top of my head, I feel like there's more E.T. stories to tell. And that's, interesting. I know I'm maybe stomping on sacred ground there, but I have a 3-year-old who's never seen the movie, but I got like a weird little kid's book novelization of it. And she loves it. There's something in that story and that character and those kids that just, I feel like it's clicking for how many years now? 30? Over 30?
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay if we sort of take the preciousness off of that movie. It's not going to ever not be a great, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else to do with that story. I feel like there kind of is.
That's an interesting idea.
Did they do an E.T. cartoon at some point?
Oh, I hope
they did video games.
I think it stopped with the video game, right?
Okay. Obviously, that was a huge fiasco. Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick right now, just off the top of my head. Is there anything floating around for you? What about in the horror world, since you're a big fan?
I know. Well, and that's,
Elm Street? Do you think that's going to get... Are we done with Elm Street?
I think so.
Are you ever done with Elm Street?
There was the Freddy's Nightmares show.
Okay.
I don't think you can go back to Elm Street. I think they did that Elm Street movie a few years ago.
They're shutting down the neighborhood.
And they just bulldozed it. Now it's a field.
Yeah. Okay, good.
As a kid, the Friday the 13th movies, as a kid, for me, they had so much dimension to them. They just had so much fertile ground to be completely horrified. And like, as an adult, I watch them and I know how movies are made now, and I know how low the budgets were on those, and it's kind of lost some of that dimension. But I just feel like, man, it would be interesting if you could just take a straight serial killer movie and see if you could turn that into 13 episodes. I think that would maybe be my vote. I would love to go back, make a sort of grindhousey Friday the 13th series.
Last thing I got for you this week, Craig. Yesterday, I also saw something on TV that made me perk right on up. I saw an AT&T commercial starring an actor of note to our podcast, Craig.
Really? Who was there?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Really? What's he doing?
The Anthony Michael Hall. He is...
Is he just hawking AT&T, or was he...
Kind of, but it's he's basically got one line in the commercial, and he's kind of making fun of himself. So I liked it for that. I can only assume that happened because of our podcast.
Yeah, I would assume so. I would appreciate a phone call, though.
Well, now that he's got this AT&T phone, it should happen.
Maybe, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it'll snowball from here, and the next thing you know, we'll be seeing him in a major TV show about Friday the 13th.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
I look forward to it.
One more thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, please do.
And I honestly don't know how old this is, so if it's been out for a while, I apologize. But I just saw the trailer for Swiss Army Man, which I don't know, made some people talk at Sundance, I guess, this year. They walked out.
I think they did
apparently
talk.
The first 10 minutes of the movie is Paul Dano riding on Daniel Radcliffe's back as he farts his way across the ocean.
As a corpse,
As
correct?
a corpse. And
Yeah.
I just watched the trailer. It is everything I wanted it to be. Because just from that description, just from the people who were disgusted and thought it was a dumb thing to watch, just them describing it, I said, that is the movie I wish I was watching right now.
I'm absolutely in cahoots. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm dying to. And no, I think that just came out either today or yesterday. But in a world where so many movies are completely predictable, if you can't at least appreciate the originality of that...
Yeah.
That it makes you get up and leave in 10 minutes, you're done. Don't come back.
Yeah.
That you're not allowed in theaters anymore.
It's true.
As far as I'm concerned.
It's true.
All right, then. Shall we wind this down?
Let's wind it down.
Episode 18 is out there kicking around. That's where we talked about the awesome Fritz Lang movie, Manhunt. Well, mostly awesome. You listen and you'll understand. It's still awesome. There's so much awesome in that movie that you should see it, and you can then revel in the stuff that's maybe slightly less awesome with us in that episode. And we'll be back again next week. We're talking Phoenix, I think, the 2015 German film.
Oh, yeah.
And so, thanks for joining in. We'll talk to you next time.
Next time.